If you're new to Boston, you've probably seen the purple striped trains rolling in and out of the South Station, North Station, or the Back Bay. That's the commuter rail, and if you've never used it before, it can feel a little intimidating. The zones, the tickets, the schedules, it's not as simple as the subway, but once you know how to use it and how it works, it's actually one of the easiest ways to get around Greater Boston. Today, I'm breaking down how to use the commuter rail like a true Bostonian. But first, we express our love for Boston through apparel and accessories. Check out our Etsy store linked in the description for more. Also, a note before we start, technically the T is all of Boston's public transportation, subway, commuter rail, train. However, in my experience, when people say the T, what they mean is the subway. So in this video, I'm calling the commuter rail the commuter rail. And if I say the T, I'm really talking about the subway. First things first, the commuter rail is Boston's train system that connects the city to the suburbs and beyond. While the T, the subway, covers closer to the city center itself, the commuter rail is how you reach places like Worcester, Lowell, Providence, Salem, or even all the way down to Plymouth. It's run by the MBTA, but it's a different service than the subway. The subway runs every few minutes. It has frequent stops, and you pay a flat fare no matter how far you go. It's built for short city trips like hopping from Cambridge to Downtown Crossing or from Fenway to Back Bay, although you could probably walk that short. The commuter rail, on the other hand, is more like a regional train. The stops are farther apart, the schedules are less frequent, and the fares are zone-based, meaning the farther out you go, the more you pay. Instead of quick neighborhood hops, it's designed to bring people in from places all over the greater Boston region and even into parts of New England. You could argue even other metro areas if you're defining Providence as its own metro area. So if the T is like Boston's bus system but underground, the commuter rail is more like a mini Amtrak. Bigger trains, longer rides, and it's a link between the city and the suburbs. There are three major stations in Boston where you can hop on the commuter rail. There's the South Station, the North Station, and then Back Bay Station, which is really, depending on the route, the first stop coming out of the South Station. Most people do start their trips when leaving from Boston or arriving in Boston at the South Station or the North Station, maybe Back Bay Station, depending on where they're going. There are some stops inside of the city of Boston along the way, but these are the largest stations from where the trains leave. And it's kind of annoying, but the North and South stations do not connect, even though they're only a mile or so away from each other. So, if you're trying to go from Portland, Maine, all the way down to New York City on your way through Boston, you're actually going to have to stop and change trains between the North and the South station. Now, here's where a lot of first-timers get tripped up: the tickets. You can buy tickets on the MBTA mTicket app. This is the easiest way. You buy it on your phone, and when the conductor comes around, you just show them your screen. You can also buy paper tickets at vending machines outside of all stations and stops. And if you're in a rush, you can always just buy from the conductor on the train. It just costs a little bit more if you're buying on the train. Always check your ticket before boarding, because if you activate it too early on the app, it might expire before you even get on the train. It's an annoying thing about the app. Personally, I know that the app is supposed to be the easiest way. It's advertised as the easiest way. Me personally, I've always just bought paper tickets, and that's been easy enough. The commuter rail uses a zone system. Boston itself is zone 1A, and the farther out you go, the higher the zone number. Each zone has its own fare price. For example, Salem is zone 3, Worcester is zone 8, Providence is zone 9. So before you buy your ticket, you need to know what zone your stop is in. Luckily, this is where the app and website is a bit easier than a paper ticket. You just search your station and it tells you the zone and price. Here's one of the biggest differences in my mind from the subway. The commuter rail doesn't run every few minutes. Most lines run every hour or so during the day, and more often during rush hour, depending on the line and the stop. Nights and weekends, the schedule can get sparse, so planning ahead is key. If you're coming back from somewhere like Salem or Lowell, check the schedule carefully. The last train might leave earlier than you think. Miss it, and you're going to be stuck calling an Uber. Once you're on it, though, the commuter rail is a pretty straightforward experience. Trains have 2 levels of seating, bathrooms, usually Wi-Fi. They're much more comfortable than the subway, and most people use them to commute from the suburbs. Conductors will come by to check your ticket, either scanning your app or punching your paper ticket. One thing to note, eating and drinking is allowed, so you'll see commuters with coffee, usually Dunkin', and snacks in the mornings. It's more relaxed than the subway. Food and drink is allowed on the subway, but people are usually just taking quick stops. So I think you might get judged or a little frowned upon, whereas the commuter rail is intended to be a bit of a longer journey. Here's the rule of thumb when it comes to commuter rail pricing. Peak times are weekday mornings into Boston and evenings out of Boston. Weekend passes on the commuter rail are just $10. So you can explore all over the region at a great price. Like seriously, even if you have a car, this is probably cheaper than the mileage you'd be putting on your car. So if you're flying into Boston and you're planning to take the train up to Salem, which by the way is the way to get to Salem, especially during fall, because it drops you right in the middle of the city. Maybe you're going out to Rockport to see everything that they have to offer there, up to Newburyport. I mean, insert the city. If you go about paying $10 on the weekend, you're really not going to be able to beat that price going these distances. I mean, honestly, for what Uber is going to cost you, that's like the tip of an Uber. So why even bother with the commuter rail? A few reasons. It's often faster than driving, especially during rush hour. I mean, I guess if there's absolutely no traffic in Boston, which there are periods and pockets of time where that happens, although it's not common, you might be able to get where you're going faster on a car. But if it's rush hour, you really want to go ahead and take the train. It'll get you where you want to go faster. Parking in Boston is expensive, so many people park at a suburban station and take the train in. You're almost guaranteed to pay less on your train fare than you are parking in Boston if you're coming into the city for a visit. Also, you don't have to worry about a lot of the crazy Boston drivers, affectionately called massholes, that are on the road. They're notorious for being very hard to deal with when you're on the road. I found this to be true in my experience, and the train just takes all that stress away for you. And honestly, the train is just about the easiest way to reach some of Boston's best day trip spots. Oftentimes, and I hinted on it a little bit with Salem earlier, the train will plop you right in the middle of the town that you're trying to go to. So it's not like, the train station's 20 minutes outside of a city where you're trying to get to. You'll be exactly where you want to be if you're going to visit some places in and around the area. So where should you visit on Boston's commuter rail? I mean, look, the most obvious answer is Salem. It's just 30 minutes north of Boston. It's probably one of the most popular tourist spots in the area, and the train drops you off right in the middle of the city. You don't have to deal with the limited parking that they have there. It's the way to see Salem by taking the commuter rail out of Boston's North Station. If you do want a bit more of a hidden gem that might not be as popular as Salem, but it's on the same line, you can go up to Gloucester and Rockport. These are some classic North Shore fishing towns. They've got beautiful harbors, fresh seafood, just that New England charm that you're probably looking for. And you can also go south down to Providence. It's Rhode Island's capital. It's just got a ton to offer. You could also take Amtrak down there. That's going to be a little bit more expensive than commuter rail, but certainly worth seeing. And if you're a bit more into American history and literature, you can take the Fitchburg line out to Concord. This is obviously where the first shots of the American Revolution were fired, a town over on the Lexington Battle Green, but it's all right there. It's also home to famous authors like Louisa May Alcott, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau. So a really great place to take in. So that's the Boston Commuter Rail. Not nearly as scary as it looks once you know the basics. Buy your ticket on the app. Know your zone, check the schedule, you're good to go. Please like this video if you found it to be helpful, and subscribe for similar videos.